Today on Locked On Rockies, again, keeping things as positive as we can. There was a lot of bad in 2024, but there were still moments that stuck out, and you Rockies fans, let me know what were your favorite moments from the 2024 season.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 25th day of October in the year 2024. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can listen to me fight off this cough that has been kicking my butt this entire month. But we're rocking and rolling here on the Locked On Rockies podcast and be part of the show. Just like everyone that chimed in today, we got lots of fan interaction on the show today because we are diving into what were Rockies fans' favorite moments of the 2024 season. We will also take a look at Brenton Doyle, where I will ask a simple question. Is he the next face of the franchise? Yeah, simple, right? All right, we're going to dive into that and a lot more on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do, today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to win $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, so I went out and I asked Rockies fans, what were your favorite moments from 2024? What were the big things that stuck out to you from 2024? And you all responded. So, friend of the show, Drew Kreisman. Drew, hope everything is well with the family, growing family, all the good stuff. Lots going on there. So congrats to Drew there, adding on to his family. And he says, that game against Milwaukee when Doyle threw the tying run out at third base to end the game from like deep right center field. One of the coolest endings to a game I've seen in a minute. That moment just cemented, and I know I'm going to talk about it a little bit later, but that moment cemented Brenton Doyle as someone's favorite Rocky. You know what I mean? Like, that's a moment when you were sitting there as a Rockies fan and you're going through that last season and you're trying to find the people and the players that you really want to get pumped on, that you really want to be excited for, players that you'll buy a jersey of, players that you'll have on your fantasy baseball team, XYZ, a million different reasons there. When you can end a game on that type of play against a team, that a playoff caliber team in a part of the season in which the season was done and dusted and yada, yada, yada. It highlights it's another example of when you get to sit back and lean back and say, holy crap, the Rockies have something special in center field. And again, yes, it's only 2 years and we've seen one bad year and the offense needs to continue. But that moment of throwing someone out, that Milwaukee player, ending the game on a beautifully, literally a perfectly thrown ball. It just goes like, it was a moment where it's just like, it's another thing where it's just like, hey, we're telling you, like, stop doubting center field, at least for the Rockies. Stop doubting Brenton Doyle. Boom, it happens. And that's one of just multiple Brenton Doyle defensive plays that you can point to and sit there and say, holy cow. Take the record and the overall is a part of the game. But again, when we're focusing on just a positive thing, this was another prime example of the potential game-changing abilities of Brenton Doyle. This was another moment where the defense of Brenton Doyle won the game, changed the game, saved the game. I mean, that is going to be the norm, it seems, with Brenton Doyle. 2 straight seasons of being arguably one of, if not the best center fielders in baseball. And that means something. That's the thing that is something that you don't forget those plays. How many defensive plays can you think about this year from the Colorado Rockies? The ones that really astounded you how many of them were either Brenton Doyle or Ezekiel Tovar? Ryan McMahon filters into that, of course, as well. But I'm talking about just those two young names. It's another situation in which we're saying when we're talking about the Rockies and what to be excited for, you bring up the same two names, Tovar and Doyle. And when Doyle's doing that, something that, I mean, again, how many times have you seen that? If ever, a beautiful play like that. So thank you so much, Drew, for sending that my way. Let's see. Our friend from the show, Senor Timmons, Vamos Rockies. He says the walk-off grand slam on opening day, the Helton Hall of Fame speech, and Tolia hitting tanks in New York. All solid moments there, and huge moments for certain players too. I think it was really, really great to see how big of a deal it was, or how important it was to get Tolia on the field, get Tolia comfortable, get Tolia in a place where he starts seeing major league hitting. It was when you're looking at that type of thing, you're and that growth. That's the thing where you can sit there and you can say again, okay, the first base is starting to come along a little bit. I don't think it's going to be the same, but I'm feeling so much in the same type of way I felt about Brenton Doyle I do about Michael Tolia. Between 2023 and 24, Brenton Doyle, and 24 and 25, Tolia, because it's like there are areas of the game I love, and I love the defense. I'm not going to, I don't downplay first base defense. Watch first base defense play a key role in the World Series. Just watch it happen. And then people can sit there and say whatever the hell they want about first base defense not mattering. But you're lying to yourself if you didn't say that the Rockies defense got even better because of Michael Tolia. Michael Tolia makes Tovar better. He makes McMahon better. He makes Rogers better. He is the best defensive option the Rockies have. And that is the encouraging thing to build off of, because first base defense doesn't matter that much. It does. How many diving plays did he make? How many times was he shown to be a not only efficient, but a stellar defender at first base, stealing hits, getting runs, and you feel more confident in the middle infield's ability to turn double plays. One of the Rockies' specialties and one of the things that the Rockies lean on heavily. And, of course, we mentioned the walk-off grand slam, Ryan McMahon setting off what was a very special start to the season for him, and really good feeling for the Rockies as well to shake off what was a really tough start to the season. And for something like that, for the Rockies to get Ryan McMahon to come up and do what he did was great. And it set the stage for Ryan McMahon to go forth and have his first All-Star season. Can't talk too much. We're staying positive. We are reminiscing about the fun times. So we're not going to dive into the second half of the season of Ryan McMahon. Walk-off grand slams are one of the most exciting things that you can watch and be a part of in baseball, right? I mean, the odds of it, the stakes. I mean, how to set up that stage and then to come up clutch in that big situation was awesome. And always fun to win in front of the home fans, of course, in an exciting way like that. All right, we got lots more fan comments to get to here, so we're going to take a break and we're going to dive into more Rockies fans' favorite moments from 2024 in just a moment here on segment number 2 of today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money on sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot up to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. That's baseball, that's football, that's basketball. You pick the players, you pick the sports, you pick the lineups. You're in control. And PrizePicks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When your picks hit, you can get your money in as quick as 15 minutes. You can join over 10 million users and sign up today. And when you do, use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. So download the app and use promo code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Yes, that's right. $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup when you use the code LOCKEDONMLB on the PrizePicks app. PrizePicks, run your game. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast. We are free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network and the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where we got all sorts of people letting me know what's on their mind. And we're asking you, Rockies fans, all offseason long, what's on your mind? What's going on? What are you thinking about when it comes to the Colorado Rockies? What do you want us to talk about here on the Locked On Rockies podcast? Let me know in the comments section here. Let me know on Twitter as well. And hey, for your second listen of the day, why don't you stay up to date with all things around the league with Locked On MLB and, of course, our friends from Locked On Broncos, Locked On Avalanche, Locked On Nuggets, and Locked On Buffs. Got you covered. All also on the Locked On Podcast Network. All right. More Rockies fans' top moments from 2024. Panic the Raptor says that huge comeback against the Braves in August. Man, oh man, was that a fun time. And another situation where I think fans of the opposition are sitting there saying, if we didn't lose that, if we didn't have that, it was a moment where the Rockies were successful at playing spoiler and where the Rockies beating a team that, golly, man, at least since I've been doing this podcast and I think before, the Braves have just utterly decimated the Rockies, especially in 2023. So for the Rockies to be able to go out and steal a win from Atlanta and make things more complicated in the playoff race, you are absolutely pumped and thrilled by that. Super fun moment there here. Jackson says the Doyle catch against Shohei, probably the loudest Coors got this year, which is sad, I guess. You know, hey, another a Doyle play against it. That's how the Rockies will build respect, is when they continue to do that against good teams, against the great players, against the elite level talent in the lead. Oh, okay. You got big bad Shohei Ohtani. All right. He's still going to have to find it and hit it in the right spot. I know Shohei usually just hits it over the wall and then no one can get it. But if you're hitting it in the wide ocean that is center field at Coors Field, there's a big old shark looming around out there looking to rob anything and everything coming his way in Brenton Doyle. Let's see. Hold an open tryout for goalies is the name of this account, I believe, referencing the Avalanche opening day slam for sure. Ryan McMahon getting some love there. God, I don't want to dive too much into it, but Ryan McMahon rules. Why can't he be more consistent? Why can't he? I mean, he is a great baseball player. Why can't he just put together a full season of it? Why can't he? Why can't he take that next step to cement himself amongst the game's best, where I know he wants to be, and where he has the skills and the foundation to be? When you're a constant Gold Glove nominee, you know you have something brewing there. Just trying to put it together for a full season for McMahon. It has just been a tough go in that. Mr. Noon says that one good Dakota Hudson start with an upside down smiley face. I kind of see if I can remember the one good Dakota Hudson. Let's see which one. Let's check the game log here for Dakota Hudson. Someone who, stepped up, pitched 89 innings for the Rockies this year, 2-12, 6.17 ERA. Let's take a look here at the game log. I'm trying to remember this one. This is one that I'm not as familiar with, but again, it was when it's only the one, but probably this one against the Dodgers here. Yeah, wasn't he? He was dealing there 4 hits, only 1 earned runs over 7 innings pitched there. He had 3 strikeouts in that game. It's got to be. I'm imagining it's that one. He also had the Phillies start there. No, wow. Only no. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm trying to find. Let's see. Earned runs. Dakota Hudson had an earned run in every start except for his first start of the year. Well, just going back on that there, but I'm assuming it's this 4 hits over 7 innings worth of work, 1 earned run there against the Dodgers. Dakota Hudson. The Rockies starting pitching. Inconsistent, but hey, you'll always enjoy watching a Rockies arm go after and take down and be efficient pitching against a team like the Dodgers. So that's always a good time. Let's see what else do we got here from Rockies fans. All right, let's go here over here. Bum, 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 bum. All right, let's see. MMMCRCO on YouTube says, favorite moment from this year was being at the Cubs-Rocks game on Saturday, September 14th, with the Rockies down to their last strike and the bases empty, with all the Cubs fans cheering and on their feet, only for Hunter Goodman to draw a walk and then have Sam Hilliard launch a no-doubter to tie the game. Rocks walked it off in the 10th, sending the majority of the patrons that night at Coors Field home sad. Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's a thing that Rockies fans can relate to, but it is something that is a little bit sweet. When the Rockies play the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Red Sox, the Yankees, these names, the big names in the Major League Baseball world, it's really fun when they beat them. I mean, it's really, really fun. I mean, and to win in that way, it wasn't that was like a bomb from Sam Hilliard, if I'm recalling correctly. I feel like most of the home runs hit by Sam Hilliard this year were just absolute nukes. And if I recall correctly, that ball was absolutely shellacked to tie the ball game up. And another situation in which the Cubs were still fighting for a playoff spot at that point. The Cubs were still very much in the playoff race at that point. It was falling apart for him there at the end. But that's what it is. You take solace in that. You feel good when your team lays the smackdown on a team like the Cubs, steals a win from them, and complicates the situation. If you're not playing for a playoff spot in September, you might as well play to shake it up. And there are teams that were circling this Rockies, with this last month of the season, the caliber of teams that the Rockies were playing in the final month of the season, all circling it as, boom, we're going to handle business. We need to handle business. We need to be able to beat this bad team. And not all of them were capable of that. That was a great moment. And still kind of just highlights again where it's just like, for me personally, I'm okay if Sam Hilliard is the bench piece at this point. The guy is clearly comfortable at Coors. The guy isn't great. His defense is meh, but I'm not going to be appalled if he's the one that ends up sticking with the team, sticking with the roster. The guy clearly has a deep connection with the Rockies, likes being here. The team likes him. I mean, there's a million reasons to be behind it. I know. Again, I'm talking about the bench guy. I'm talking about the guy the vet on the bench. He's played somewhere else. He's been with the Rocks for a bit. I'm all right with him playing the Jake Cave role. I don't need Sam Hilliard playing 120 plus games, though. I'll tell you that. But it's good to have. And good for Hilliard to create some moments in this season. I think it was a season and a part where Hilliard was getting into a part of his career where he kind of had to accept some of the changes, accept where he was at, accept different types of things. And instead of shying away from that role, instead of making it a bigger deal or focusing on the wrong things, instead, I think we got a mature Sam Hilliard that provided for this Rockies team. It's not going to be the best performance ever. He wasn't performing every single time, but he did create big moments, and he is someone that it is very easy to root for the Colorado Rockies there, and Sam Hilliard. Let's see here. Let's take a look to see if we got all right. RMK, my favorite memory from the 2024 Rockies was Ryan McMahon grand slam for our first win. It was a huge relief off my chest. Well, there you go. Again, big moment. Best way to get, not a bad way to get your first win of the season when you're able to open it up with that nice grand slam there. Lux A says, as a favorite moment of 2024 would probably be Charlie Blackmon's final game and maybe the McMahon grand slam walk-off on opening day. Not a favorite moment, but one that stuck with me this whole season was on Jordan Beck's debut. He gets 2 hits. Offense does good the first 2 innings and score 5 runs. Feltner was looking great on the mound. Next thing you know, we blow 5 runs in the 9th and lost to the Marlins. Another one was the Rockies posting a video on Instagram saying they were upset about last season and were going to win more games, and then lost 16-1 in the first game of the season. I gave up hope the second the season started. Go Yankees in the World Series. Thank you, Lux Ace, always tuning in as well. I think that is the other thing too. What we did at least in amidst all of the issues, amidst all the problems, the frustration, we did get to celebrate Charlie Blackmon. And unfortunately, Charlie Blackmon's career ends how most of it went with the Rockies, on a team that was out, long before, a team trying to rebuild and recraft its identity and build something up. But we at least got to see him be successful. We got to see him at Coors Field finishing his career, and we got to have that moment. We got to have the moment where you at least get to say goodbye. And again, it's a tough one. You really look at the what ifs of Charlie Blackmon's career, and it could be totally different. Really could. Elite Charlie Blackmon was a gift. And unfortunately, it didn't help the Rockies enough. But that's baseball. It's tough. It's very tough to be good. But so, yes, Charlie Blackmon getting his send-off, of course, a very special moment there for the Rockies. It's still, bittersweet, of course. You're saying bye and all that stuff, but nothing but the best. And hearing Charlie talk, it just sounded like he knew, and you just don't. He's a guy that we've learned you just trust him. He's putting himself in the right spot. He knows where he is. He's come to peace with a lot of things. And I think if you talk to Charlie Blackmon, he will, of course, express some disappointment about the lack of postseason and all that stuff, and lack of championships and XYZ. But I also think we get to appreciate that we had a guy that just loved the game of baseball, played the game of baseball in an incredible way, set the standard for what it means to be a professional ball player, from routine, from practice, from all of the stuff you've heard about Charlie Blackmon, the baseball player, and really the person, is the type of stuff, if you're a coach, you would be loving to drill into your kids. A passion for a game, a passion for the process, a passion for putting the work in, and an understanding of why it's important for you to take every day seriously, to lift, to do the same routines, to build up a routine that helps get you in the best mindset, the best physical, and get you in the best shape. Charlie Blackmon was very important for the Rockies. And I think if this young team builds into something successful, this team will remember and talk about Charlie Blackmon's leadership. He will, and who knows, by the time that this team is making some noise at a bigger level, Charlie Blackmon might be back within the organization. And that door seemed very much still open at the conclusion of the season, as with some of the comments made by Blackmon and such there to end the season. So we'll see. All right. Awesome from all the Rockies fans there. Really appreciate you all letting me know what your favorite moments were. Keep letting me know. What your favorite Rockies moments were in the comments on today's video here underneath. Let me know what's on your mind when it comes to favorite Rockies moments. And let's talk Brenton Doyle real quick before we go and try to ask a really complicated but not that crazy question as well, coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook, and they want to help you win big during this football season. You can fire up the app, and when you get a hunch, when you're thinking, you know what, Bo Nix taking on the Panthers, yeah, I want to get in on some of this. You can fire up the app. You can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. That means the same spot you find your parlays, your future bets, your props, all that stuff. They got you covered with the stats and the information you need at FanDuel. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com. That's $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Go check it out for yourself at FanDuel.com. Make sure that you are playing responsibly, gambling responsibly as well, but don't miss out on your $200 in bonus bets guaranteed after your first $5 bet on FanDuel.com. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast, for free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network and the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show every time you like the videos, every time you subscribe, every time you leave a comment, every time you check out the pod there. You're really helping the show grow. So I really do appreciate that, folks. Really, really do. So I want to ask you this, and I think we're going to have this conversation bleed into next week as well. But is Brenton Doyle the new face or the new potential face of the Colorado Rockies? I think Ezequiel Tovar has a strong argument as well. But I think when the interesting thing about Ezequiel Tovar in the context of this conversation is Rockies have always had great shortstops. The Rockies have always been able to produce great shortstops. Center field has been a completely different story. So when you have someone that, again, is doing stuff that no other Rocky has done, first Rockies outfielder win a Fielding Bible Award. Brenton Doyle wins his first Fielding Bible Award for center field. So, and he's another finalist for Gold Glove. He's got the Gold Glove already. He plays in just a absolutely exciting and thrilling manner. He has the potential to do stuff in the field, at the dish, on the base paths. I personally think if you're going to see an uptick in jerseys from next year, jerseys for players, I think Brenton Doyle is going to be the one that starts kind of setting that stage. I think and Tovar is going to be right there too. I think there's a lot of people that you don't have to pick between the two. Obviously, we get both of them. They're on the team. Tovar's got the big deal and all that stuff. But it is really, really interesting to see just, I think, the rocket ship growth of Brenton Doyle. And I think when you're a fan and you're looking for your next favorite player, you're looking for someone that can impact the game every single time that the ball is hit to you. You're up, you're on base. And that's exactly what Brenton Doyle does. And I think Ezequiel Tovar is right there too with the defense and all that stuff. And I think and that legacy of shortstop position, I think, and Tovar was already did the voice of the DIA train, right? It's clear that the Rockies have two guys that are in a perfect spot in 2025 to become the next generation's favorite Rockies player. These guys, because there's a lot of us that, if you've been going through it, you've seen different versions of the team. If you've been growing up, this is where this next crop of fans that are maybe just getting into Rockies baseball specifically, maybe not as connected to the past of the Rockies, even the playoff teams, even the Arenado story teams. I think when the season is over, I don't think it's crazy to think that Tovar and Doyle can be potential all-stars. And I don't think it's crazy to sit there and say that one of them is going to be the next the Rockies player that everyone talks about. The Rockies player that every fantasy baseball player wants to have on their team. I mean, the stats are insane for Doyle. I mean, this is a guy that is redefining the center field for the Colorado Rockies. This is a guy that hits 23 home runs and steals 30 bases. If Brenton Doyle is a 30 player next year, I mean, I don't know what else he'd have to do to win that favorite Rocky award. If he's dropping bombs, stealing bags, and stealing runs and stealing hits in the outfield, how can he not be your favorite? And for us Rockies fans, isn't it nice that we could sit there and say, well, wait a minute, hold on, we got Ezequiel Tovar. And what if Tolia has a huge season? We know Colorado loves first baseman. My point is, I think if the growth continues for Brenton Doyle, he's going to find himself in special company amongst Rockies fans. And I think the same exact thing for Ezequiel Tovar as well. Folks, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for joining us and making us your first listen of the day. I know the schedule's been weird for posting. Sorry. Kind of just got to rock with the day job and how it goes sometimes. So I appreciate you tuning in here in the afternoons. Hope you guys are getting this before your drive home on your Friday as well. We'll be back in action. More Rockies talk next week. Remember, I want to know what you Rockies fans are thinking. So let me know what's on your mind by hitting me up on the Locked On Rockies Twitter at LO Rockies or checking us out on the Locked On Rockies YouTube page. For your second listen of the day, go check out Locked On MLB, or for Colorado sports coverage, get Locked On Broncos, Locked On Avalanche, Locked On Nuggets, and Locked On Buffs, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. Until next time, this is Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.